The first time I saw a shirtless teenager tearing through the harbor on my $7,000 speedboat, chugging a neon energy drink and whooping like he'd just clinched a NASCAR title, I figured I'd walked into someone else's soap opera. Maybe a rich cousin had lent him the keys, or he'd swiped it for a joyride. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that smug, freckled kid had been handed my Boat Me Pride and Joy, with its custom teal wrap and blaring sound system, be a woman I'd never even met. Apparently, she thought her position on the neighborhood association board gave her the right to treat my property like a community toy. This was no ordinary day in July 2024 in the quiet coastal town of Bayside, Oregon. I stood on the pier, half-eaten burger in hand, watching the wake ripple around my empty slip. The boat was mine, no question custom decals, that gaudy yellow canopy I'd picked to annoy a neighbor who'd once reported me for mowing my lawn too early. Now, it was bobbing 20 feet offshore, packed with screaming teens, one of them waving at me with a rude gesture while steering with his knees. The harbor security guy, a lanky dude named Pete who only showed up for weekend shifts, sauntered over, eyeing me like I was about to lose it. I didn't. I just asked, cool as ice, why a pack of kids was joyriding my boat. "Oh, that's Dylan," he said, scratching his neck. "Marissa told me it was fine. Said it's a shared resource or something." My stomach twisted, not with rage, but with that surreal feeling when the world starts glitching. Shared resource? Like my boat was a public picnic bench? I spent the next hour calling the cops, who shrugged it off as a civil matter, unless I could prove theft. Then I marched to the association's office, where Marissa held court like a small-town dictator. She sat in a cushy chair, sipping iced tea, a stack of bylaws her scepter. I didn't knock. "Marissa," I said, steady as a heartbeat, "your kid's driving my boat like it's a go-kart." She blinked, clutching her Nicolacia tacky beaded thing that screamed discount bin. "That's not your boat," she said, like she'd just solved world hunger. "It's on association property. Per Rule 7, Section C, anything docked over 30 days is communal unless registered." I cut her off. "It's registered with the harbor, the state, and the Coast Guard." "Want the numbers?" "They're on my phone." Her smile tightened. "Well, we'll let the courts sort it out." She thought she'd won. She had no idea she just poked a guy who keeps every receipt since 2010 in labeled folders and has a cousin in maritime logistics. I didn't yell. I got strategic. For 2 days, I collected evidence, harbor cameras, drone footage, even Dylan's own social media post tag, "New boat vibes. Thanks, Mom." Every clip of him chugging energy drinks on my deck was gold. I filed a police report for theft, unauthorized use, and operating a vessel without a license. Dylan was 15, and my boat had a 350 horsepower engine. Marissa fired back, accusing me of harassment, even trying to paint me as a bully targeting a single mom. Funny, considering her husband, Greg, owned a yacht dealership and spent weekends golfing at an exclusive club. I stayed calm, showed up to the association meeting with a folder thick as a brick, photos, texts, even a message from Marissa to Dylan saying, "Just take it, he won't care." The room went silent as I passed out copies. Marissa doubled down, claiming I'd hacked her kid's phone. Then, the next morning, my boat vanished again. She'd hired a tow company to haul it off as an eyesore and sold it to cover fees. No warning, no notice. Gone. But here's where it gets wild. My cousin in logistics, pure luck, was handling the transport for the buyer who'd snagged my boat. I called in a favor. By the time Marissa posted a smug note on the community board about learning to share, my boat was on a freighter to Puerto Vallarta. She found out at her own fancy dockside party, surrounded by catered lobster and a malfunctioning cocktail machine. A board member, Tim, texted me updates. "Marissa's freaking out about the boat. Blaming you. Now she's calling the Coast Guard." I pictured her in a giant sun hat, yelling into her phone like she was in a Hollywood thriller. I didn't send her proof of the boat's New Mexican home. Instead, I mailed her a shipping manifest with her name listed as the prior custodian. No, just that. Let her sweat. The cops weren't amused when she tried to report it stolen. I'd already dropped off my evidence ownership papers, GPS logs, the works. The officer told her, "You can't sell something, then claim it's missing." Her world started cracking. Dylan skipped school, kids calling him Captain Mexico. Marissa showed up at my house, fuming, her floral perfume choking the air. "You think this is a game?" she screamed. "You're ruining my family." I sipped my coffee. "You gave away my boat. I just made sure it got a new home." She threatened to sue. I smiled. I knew her association's budget inside, out every shady line item, every lost meeting note. I filed a counterclaim. Theft, property transfer, defamation. I didn't want cash. I wanted her board seat. If she lost, she'd resign and face a community vote to bar her from ever running again. The neighborhood split like a cracked windshield. Marissa's loyalists clung to her, but the rest folks tired of her petty fines and power trips rallied. Anonymous flyers popped up. "Marissa doesn't own the harbor or your stuff. Vote for fairness." The court date was a circus. Marissa, in a stiff blazer, accused me of digital coercion. I handed the judge my binder's com. No drama. He asked, "Did you tell your son to take the boat?" She stammered, "I encourage community use." He pressed, "By selling it?" She unraveled, blaming everyone Dylan, me, the board, even the tow company. The judge ruled for me. Marissa paid court costs, apologized publicly, and lost her seat. Dylan got 30 hours of community service, now sweeping the docks where my new Boata shinier models its. But I wasn't done. Greg's yacht dealership? Shady. A friend flagged suspicious inventory losses tied to government bids. I dug deeper, found sales linked to a broker run by Greg's cousin. I sent an anonymous tip to the state business office. Within weeks, the dealership was audited. Marissa's name was on falsified invoices. She wasn't just complicit, she helped cook the books. Then one morning, a black SUV rolled up. Federal agents. They handed Marissa a subpoena. The neighborhood buzzed. Her accounts were frozen, her perfect life imploding. She tried one last petty movie, a $150 fine for a birdhouse on my porch. I fought back with a community tour, exposing her selective rule enforcement. At the next meeting, residents demanded a review of all fines. Marissa's last allies crumbled. She showed up at my door, mascara streaked, ranting about betrayal. "You ruined me," she cried. I said, "You lost because you thought you owned what wasn't yours." Weeks later, a federal indictment hit Greg for procurement fraud, with Marissa named as a co-conspirator. They moved away in a rickety truck, no goodbyes. Then came a letter from her lawyer and affidavit admitting her HOA abuses and fraud involvement, plus a handwritten note. "I thought control kept me safe. You were right. I was clueless." I didn't reply. The neighborhood healed new board, transparent budget, even a bonfire to burn old violation notices. I named my new boat Harbor Guard. A reminder, accountability wins. So what do you think? Was I too harsh? Or did Marissa deserve every consequence? Should I have pressed charges against Dylan? Or was letting him watch his mom's empire collapse enough? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories where justice hits harder than a rogue wave.